You're listening to the Super League Pod, coming up on episode 87 of your favourite Rugby League podcast. We've got all your feedback, all your shout-outs, news from around the world of Rugby League. We'll be looking back at a crazy second round of Super League action. We'll be previewing the upcoming World Club Series and also a couple of this weekend's Super League fixtures. And also, in a special feature, my new best mate ever, Adam O'Brien, joins us for a quick chat about his life in Rugby League, promotion hunting with the Bulls, and also Bradford's worst dressed player. All that and more on your podcast, the Super League Pod. Okay, welcome along to the Super League Pod.
I'm a bit disappointed that I've been knocked off the perch of your best friend ever.
Well, there's...
Whatever, no. Joke, done.
Do you not think perhaps...
I've just edited the interview now, so I'm going.
Am I engaging in a small amount of hyperbole for the good of the show and revealing your insecurities, perhaps? Does that say more about the esteem in which you hold me?
Nah, I'm safe.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, Baldy. I'm not being hoisted on my own petard. How's your week been, sir?
It's been decent. What's going on? Wigan won.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
I went to Port Sunlight.
What on earth is Port Sunlight?
It's, Lever Brothers. It's where the Unilever factory is.
Okay.
And Lord Lever Hume, who was the kingpin of the...
Is he in any way related to your better half? Because her maiden name was Lever.
Not to our knowledge, but
that's a shame, isn't it?
He developed. He sort of built a town for his workers to work in. That was all nice and all like arts and crafts houses.
I see, like Saltaire in Bradford.
Similar sort of theme, I guess. So we went down there.
Fantastic.
She wanted to look in there was an exhibition of 1930s dresses. She wanted to see how well her wedding dress matched up to the actual real 1930s dresses, and she was quite impressed with the tail on it. Was very similar to some of the dresses, the back, the button detail. So she thinks now that she got a really good job on the wedding dress picking a 1930s dress.
This week in haberdashery.
There we go.
It's fantastic stuff. Well, I've had my usual quiet week, really. I've had a lovely weekend with my little girl. We went and saw some horses, which got me a drawing. She drew me a horse. That's pretty much been... Oh no, it's up on my wall it's up on my office wall. It's an office wall piece. That's how good this horse is.
Oh, it's actually good then?
Oh, they're all good. She's a tremendous little artist. And other than that, just been enjoying Rugby League and our interactions with our lovely listeners.
Yeah, it's been a fun week for that.
Which leads us on to our feedback and shout-outs. Who's been getting in touch this week, Mark?
Quite a few people. Al Witt's got in touch, actually, as we were recording the show last week, and he said... This could maybe be good used in your recommendation section if there's any racing fans. Well, what he sent us was a link to All Golds at the Racetrack. Mm-hmm. So if you search YouTube for that, but it's basically All Golds versus South Wales when they play on the 16th of March. It's £10 for a ticket with a free cider thrown in, the Kingston Press, I'm assuming.
Right.
But that's on the same day as Ladies' Day at the races down at
Gloucester.
Yeah, well... Cheltenham.
It's near there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm led to believe.
That neck of the woods. So basically, if you're a racing fan and you fancy some midweek Rugby League and a Ladies' Day out, there you go. Tenner.
Rugby League and a free pint.
There you go.
You had me at hello. That's fantastic.
So check that out. Check out the All Golds website for more information on that, really.
Yep,
or their YouTube channel. Elliot Wrench got in touch. Great episode again. Not much digressible or tangentials going on. Ace match reports and summaries.
Nice vocab, Elliot. Always gets you extra Super League pod points, doesn't it?
Has he made up digressibling?
Not much digressibling or tangentials. I think digressibling is definitely a made-up word.
But we'll find out.
Tangentials, I think.
Tell you what, we'll
tangential.
If Kyle Amor uses it in an interview,
yes,
then
I don't necessarily, despite his eloquence the other night, think that if Kyle Amor uses it as a word, should be the barometer for whether or not things are words.
We're going with it now. We're bedding in on that process.
Okay, no problem. Kyle Amor is the acid test then.
Paul O'Brien, he said, great show as always. Have to agree with Tom about Paul Rowley. I think that's your chat about why we couldn't remember why, but we think it's your chat about why he was inclined to leave the Leeds Centurions.
I mean, I say a lot of things, Paul, do you know what I mean? So I'm glad that someone agrees with me every so often.
There you go. Alan Cale, he said, great show as always. With the number of games, should Wigan go to a 3G pitch a la Widnes? would solve long-standing issues with the pitch. Well, the long-standing issues with the pitch would be solved by digging the whole place up properly and re-putting in the sort of ventilation down underneath the pitch and the that sort of stuff. The drains are at the wrong height or something, but it's been built on a waste ground. Not necessarily using a 3G pitch might not solve all the questions, because from what I understand, international rugby league can't be played on like the proper test level, can't be played on 3G pitches, and the football league, I think, don't allow it. So that would be a couple of difficult barriers to overcome there.
It does, yeah. But I think the 3G pitch works really well at Widnes because it makes the ground and it allows the club and the ground to sort of sweat the asset more, doesn't it? So
although their pitch, to be honest, their pitch looks pretty shit these days, doesn't it?
It looks pretty shit, but it holds up in the weather, doesn't it?
Green plastic knitting back into it, I think. I was listening on the radio actually on my way out. Some guy is trying to get those kind of pitches banned, isn't he? Because his kid got cancer. Now,
I can add some colour to that.
Was it Lou Gehrig's or something like that?
He got cancer. The reason, the point to bear in mind with that's not...
Oh, non-Hodgkin lymphoma or
It's not on British pitches, though, because the rubber that they use from the tyres in Europe is of a different composition to the rubber that they use on the tyres in America. In America, the standards for what can go into the rubber is a lot lower. Therefore, there are more carcinogens within the rubber. So this yank, yes, in America it's an issue.
Well, I think this is a British guy.
Well, the article I read very specifically said that the standards of the quality of the rubber that they use for the little pellets is sufficiently high that it's unlikely that caused him cancer, whereas in America it might well do.
Okay, Rich Wilkinson.
I'm not having us getting sued by anyone, even Pirelli.
Rich Wilkinson said, "Now then, boys, awesome pod as always. Just a few things. First, with the Sandow try obstruction, this is back from the Leeds Warrington game. He still wasn't over it in the week. He said, if that's how they're going to be, then I have no problem with it being a try. But what I have a problem with is that the next dozen going upstairs will come down as no tries or similar or less. And last, Tom, when you were talking about the Leeds game, please don't ever refer to yourself as a neutral." If it's true, burn your bullshit.
Well, no. Okay, perhaps I'm not totally neutral, but I think, considering we don't play in the same league, and this was the point I made to Richard privately as well in this little conversation, is that I can look at it through slightly more, neutral eyes than I would ordinarily do. Leigh are our big rivals at the minute. If we ever get back to the Super League, then it'll all change. But
it's not too hard for you. Just have to remember to harden the end of the word.
Exactly. It's been an easy transition. For fucking hate Leigh. See, it works beautifully.
Listen out when you listen to the show this week. You'll notice some new music in there. Richard Wilkinson is the creator of that. So
fantastic. We've debuted Richard's music this week.
Yeah, they'll have heard it.
This kind of breaks the fourth wall, doesn't it? Because I haven't heard it yet, but it's all going on around us.
There you go.
I'm going to feel a slight pang. I'm certain Richard is far more talented than I in terms of what he's produced compared to my garage band. I am going to feel a small pang when I don't hear
Well, we've got it there to put it back in if people feel too much like they need at least to open the show with that. We'll see how we go. But
I like people contributing.
Quite impressed with Richard's stuff, and there might be a surprise in there for Rich when he listens. Fantastic. So there you go. Ooh. So keep listening.
Now, Richard will have this fed back to us pretty sharpish because of the time difference. He's normally heard this by about the time that I'm getting out of bed on a Tuesday morning because he's had it on at work. He's 9 and 10 hours in front of us being in Australia, so we're going to know pretty quick.
Yep, Mr. Jeff Jefferson came back. A Super League version of Netflix would be awesome, much like UFC Fight Pass or NFL Game Pass. Can't be that hard. #random thought. Now, he's not actually the only person who tweeted us about this, because there was a Newcastle Knights fan who recently got in touch with the podcast. I think he's following Widnes with Chris Howson being there.
Right.
His name escapes me, sorry for that. But he mentioned this as well, like, where can we watch the games on a Sunday? And it's like, well, nowhere.
Yeah.
Not this time. But do you know what? The quality of it would be low.
Yeah.
And Rugby League population are generally whinge bags when it comes to spending any sort of money on anything. So I can't imagine that it'd be a good seller, but I'd definitely be getting involved with it. So
the problem I have is that
I'm happy with it.
It would ruin Netflix and chill for me if it was Super League and chill, because then my focus would be more on the Rugby League. So yeah, I'm not keen for that to happen.
What do you think half times are for?
Well, yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
Right. David Brown at DonsFan12, he said, we'll try and give reports on Doncaster this season.
Superb.
You guys do a cracking job covering all levels of the sport. Keep up the good work. Yeah, so...
This is one of my favourite tweets this week. This is absolutely what we set the podcast up to do, and it's people coming from places like Doncaster where, quote unquote, the less fashionable teams and people like that can get involved, and we absolutely want to hear from you. So thank you first of all to David for getting in touch, but if you're sat at home listening and you're a Batley or a Dewsbury fan or wherever, get in touch with us and give us that feedback, because we absolutely want it. We called the Super League pod, but we want to hear from you.
Well, what my sort of dream was when I envisaged what we were going to do with the show, and as it started to formulate, I really want to get a view from at least one fan of every single side that plays in the professional and semi-professional game every week into the show. That is my dream, my vision for the Super League pod. We called it the Super League pod because we thought everything might get a Super League name attached to it when they went to the 8s, didn't we?
Yes.
And turns out we were fucking wrong. We're wrong about a lot of things, as our Super Brew of us still demonstrate.
I'm ready to defend myself on Super Brew this week.
This is one of my favourite tweets that we've had as well, Tom, because I think this is the other side of the story of what we've always been looking for. So this came in from No Helmets Required at No Helmets Rec on Twitter. I'm pretty sure that's Gavin Willisey, isn't it? Because it's his book is that name. His column in the Guardian,
and it's his column that's been promoted by the 20
is in that, so I'm pretty sure it's him who, if I'm right,
he's a Rugby League writer of some repute then.
If I'm right, he's from our neck of the woods as well, because I'm pretty sure he's a PNE fan,
right? So
he must be from our neck of the woods.
If he's any way related to the Willises that we know, then the one with Michael
Andrew, maybe.
Could be a small world.
Anyway.
Or we could be completely wide of the mark. Yeah. Just a tribute or some other bloke.
So he says, can't beat with this week's Super League pod, like chatting league and other crud over a few ales, only it comes out of your PC whilst you're, in inverted commas, working.
Thank you, yes.
Well, that's exactly what we kind of are going for, a conversational piece, and that's why we encourage as much fan interactions as we go along as well. Have you ever read his book? Yeah.
No, I haven't yet.
So the book is about the American All-Stars who toured Australasia mostly in the 1950s.
Right.
Put together a bit of a... What was the guy called? Mike Dimitro, I think. A bit of a crazy bunch of NFL players, rugby players, union players, or college... At a college level and an amateur level and that sort of thing.
Right.
Put them together as a rugby league team to go and take on the world.
That's fantastic.
I've got the book. I've not finished the whole book.
Right.
It's one of those that I pick up and put down in between other things that I've sort of been waiting for. More. But it's a good story.
Fantastic.
Definitely.
I'll trade it you for Two Schools' autobiography if you like, and we can do a bit of a rugby league book share.
Fair enough.
That's been a good read. Two Schools.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm just trying to sell it to you so I can get my hands on Gavin's book.
We'll have a bit more of a chat about rugby league biographies later on in the recommendations.
I'm sure we will.
There we go.
We've got someone else to bag on this week.
Tom Hodgson, he said, finally listened to this week's show. I'm finally passing my driving test last week. What was the first thing on the car radio? SLP.
Thank you.
There you go. Breaking new ground.
He's fast becoming a staunch SLP stalwart, he's Dom, isn't he?
Yeah, he's ever since that first sort of real connection when he was in Vegas trying to find a place to watch the game.
One of my favourite pictures from the podcast is that one of him kind of pre-grand final, or was it Challenge Cup final?
It might have been
the cup final, wasn't it? And then post-cup final, where he had all them other lasses dancing on the bar around him. Since that point in time, like Dom Hodgson has been kind of what I aspire to, really, in that very specific circumstance.
Ian Saguna got in touch. Hey fellas, question: what do you think of a bonus point being introduced to the game? Eliminate golden point and it would make for more tries than going for 7 to win the game. That would be more thrilling. Works in the NFL with a 2-point conversion. Thoughts?
Well, my first thought was that he was talking about bonus point in terms of the score lines before I read the tweet properly, and that filled me with dread because I think we've
covered that to death. We've covered that to death. Years and we don't like it.
I actually don't mind this as a proposition, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know how well it will go down with the purists, but I'm all for giving things a run at. I think it could be a very entertaining addition to our sport, really. I think it would need, trialling and running out in under-19s and reserve fixtures, a la some of the newer stuff that we're trying this year. But I haven't got a massive objection to this. I tend to agree with Saguna. What do you think?
Yeah, I like going for 2. I mean, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan in the NFL, and no team in a single season in history has gone for 2 points more than the Pittsburgh Steelers did in 2015.
Is that right?
So, yeah, I'm also a stats fan.
Was that because they were losing more games than anyone
No,
else?
it was
Was
they
it
changed